Well, hello friends and welcome back to my pantry. I'm Renee and I want to show you my pantry because I am completely done winter stocking. My pantry is bulging at the seams. My root cellar is full. My freezer's full. My pantry is very much a working, sustainable pantry. With my root cellar and my freezer, I'm pleased. And I am so glad that it is done. That's like 1,000 pounds off my chest. When you have food in your cupboards and you are stocked for winter, my friends, it's like money in the bank. So let's get started and I'll show you what I have stored up and why. Okay, friends, we will start with my section over here of these are all just my home canned goods and my freeze dried goods. Now I do have a bigger variety of freeze dried goods in my root cellar, but up here I just wanted to stock the items that I am currently using because I really don't do long-term prepping, so to speak, because my pantry is constantly working and I'm constantly replenishing and I'm working it, friends. I'm working it. And this year though, there won't be a whole lot of working. I will be basically living, my husband and I will be living off this pantry. So it was very important to us to make sure that we had at least 9 months to a year's worth of food, which we probably have got way more than that, but we're set. We have a big variety. Anyway, with these are just my barley, and I've got barley, and I do a lot of granola bars and granola and stuff. So I've got flaxseed, chia seeds, ground flaxseed, regular flaxseed and ground flaxseed. This is my pearled barley. None of that's freeze dried. This starts my freeze dried section. I've got mushrooms, which I use. My husband hates them, but I love them. I use them in my own stuff, or I'll add them, after I'm done cooking stuff. I've got a great big thing of, these are freeze dried mixed veggies. And I also have dehydrated mixed veggies. So I am absolutely loaded to the hilt with those. And I use them and they're wonderful. I have used these and the mushrooms and the egg powder. I use this mostly for baking, but I have used these a lot already. I got a big thing of my freeze-dried, these are yellow and orange and red peppers in here. And I had another small container, and it was probably this size, but a quarter of the way filled, that I have used. So I'm getting ready to bust into this one. Plus I have more downstairs. I have more of all this downstairs, with the exception of my eggs. I store my egg powder. Now I showed you how I stored my egg powder. They say, like if you bought a number 10 can of powdered eggs, they say that it has a 10-year shelf life, of course, unless you open it. But these aren't going to last 10 years. These will be gone by the end of winter, so I really couldn't tell you whether they'd last 10 years or not. These are my own chicken eggs, and they're wonderful. These work well in baking. That's mainly what I use them for, baking, or when I do omelets or a breakfast bake. I use these a lot and they're wonderful, and I keep them sealed. And I know each time I open them up and use them, I have to reseal it, and that's fine. I'll do that to preserve them. But I always keep an oxygen absorber in those too. I don't want any moisture getting into these whatsoever. This is a 2 quart, a half-gallon jar. And this is, I think six dozen eggs in here. that are freeze dried, fantastic. Okay, this is all my onions. This is from my garden that I grew. I grew these onions. Now, I didn't grow my peppers. I bought them when Meijer had a sale 10 for 10. I loaded right up, I chopped them up, and I freeze dried them. Beautiful. I do have some in the freezer that I just sliced and that I use when I do brats or something, you know, to have onions and peppers with it. But these ones I grew in my garden. We grew ourselves, and these are scallions. Some of them are the Egyptian walking onions, which those really are good, friends. I've been using a lot of those, and they're just a little spicier. They would be beautiful in salsas, you know. This is my breadcrumbs. I do my homemade breadcrumbs. My onions, okay, this tells you how much I go through onions. This was full. Maybe not quite 2 months ago, these were full. This one is still full, but this one I gotta replenish. So I do that. That's something that I get a lot of is onions, and I'm constantly freeze drying onions. I know I have a big bunch downstairs, so I can bring a bag up from my basement, and I could, you know, fill this up again, or I can just use this jar for something else, bring these forward, and start it on that, you know, whichever. This is a mashed potato flakes, but these aren't what I freeze dried. These are what I purchased. Okay, those are good. And this little one, these are nice. This is bok choy greens. Okay, I freeze dried bok choy, and it turned out really nice. If you can see that, really nice. And I've already been using it because I made soup the other day too. Now, the greens I keep in here, and I just keep them inside of a plastic bag because I do use those quite a bit. I like to just crumble them up, and with the bok choy greens and my celery greens and my parsley, I always sprinkle a little bit on pretty much everything I cook. It's just a good way to get some extra nutrition. These are the same as the mixed veggies over here, and I bet this is the one I've been working on, so that works good. And I used some of that in my soup too. It was wonderful. Okay, let me turn you around here. We'll follow this around, get you over here. All right. I haven't done a video on it, and I probably should. I like making bagels, and this is the Everything Bagel Seasoning. This was full. This was full last winter, so that's lasted me quite a bit. Plus, I did sell some of this out in my market stand. I did sell some of that, and that was to help recoup some of the cost from it, which it worked very well. And, you know, let me tell you right now, I have sold quite a bit of my freeze-dried stuff for a reasonable price, you know, and I can do that legally through our cottage law. Anything dehydrated or freeze-dried, you can sell. So I did include some of these in my little basket that I have in my market stand with my dehydrated goods and my freeze-dried goods, and I have sold quite a bit of it. And it's just helping me to recoup my expense for the machine, which that thing is going to, by doing that, I should say, I'm going to recoup my cost on that machine faster than most people because I can sell it. Because some of my neighbors and some of my friends say, hey, you know, how much will you charge us to dehydrate this stuff for us? You know, I would love to be able to do that free, but that does cost me a little electricity, and it is a little bit of my time because usually I cut up and prep all the food for it. So we come to a good, you know, a reasonable price, and it just goes towards my maintenance and my oil for it and, you know, anything else that I want to buy for it, or absorbing some of the cost for the purchase of it. Which, by the way, friends, I've got a surprise. My husband and I, we have a Premier pump. Excuse me, is it a Premier pump? It's the pump that came with the freeze dryer. And I hate changing oil. I don't like mechanics or maintenance or changing oil or none of that. I'll clean my machine. I'll take care of my machine. My husband always does the oil and the pump. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to treat myself and my husband. And I went ahead and I ordered an oil-free, maintenance-free pump for this. Yes, it was a little pricey, but well worth it for me. Anyway, that was my Christmas present and my Mother's Day present and my birthday present, and everything combined because it was pricey. Oh, I got my brown rice. I cook this and I freeze dry it. Man, that stuff is wonderful. And I did have a question about that, the freeze dried brown rice. Somebody asked me if, and this is minute white rice that I had freeze dried and turned into minute rice. And that's what the person asked me, is if the freeze dried, how would I rehydrate it? I said, just exactly like you would a box of minute rice. Works beautiful. My jasmine rice is in there. This is my tomato powder. I have not used this yet, but look, I got a whole bunch of that, and I'm curious to find out how long that'll last, because I can use that to thicken, my pasta sauces, some of my other stuff, or I can just make a pasta sauce out of it. I like the idea of the tomato powder. I love that idea. And we're getting over here, friends. I promise you. These are peas. They're like little BBs. I love it. I got this jar sealed. This jar is not. You can tell. And I've been using them. And I'll tell you, when it comes to these, and here's my green beans. My other one's over here. I use it for a camera prop. It works pretty good. Anyway, how I tell you my grandkids absolutely love ramen noodles. Well, ramen noodles are useless when it comes to nutrition. I'm sorry. There's nothing in them. Just noodles and some broth, and it's not nutritional at all. But, friends, you add a little bit of mixed veggies or peas or something to that, or some freeze-dried chicken crumbles, and man, you've got a meal for your grandkids or your kids or your family. My granddaughters love it. Now, I don't know why, but my one granddaughter likes her veggies not crunchy, but a little on the chewy side. Don't ask. I have no idea why, but she does. So I use my dehydrated veggies in her ramen noodles, and she loves it. She that way they can get all their veggies. I love it. Easy way to get them to eat veggies. So anyway, that's about it with that. Over here I've just got some, these are just cranberries, and I use a lot of cranberries. I've got a lot of cranberries. I've got a gal, I think they're the government commodities is what I think they are. But she always says, you know what? My friends gave me some of these cranberries, and we just don't like cranberries. She says that's about as nasty as getting a can of cranberry, that gel, that cranberry sauce. And she says, you can have these back, and plus the ones that they gave me, because we don't want them. We just don't want them. So I use them. Man, I love them. I use them in my granola. I make an almond cranberry granola. I make a cranberry nut bread. I make cranberry nut muffins. I use these cranberries all day long. And, I always say I don't keep anything, and I don't usually keep anything that was given to me that has been, food pantry items or the government commodity items that people normally would throw away. They give it to me, and I always find a home for it. So beside of the garbage, and I'd never keep any of that for myself because I don't need that, but I do know people who do, and I'd rather take it and give it to somebody who can use it and will use it than to see it go in the dump. That's simple, you know. But these I keep and I use. And if I ever find anybody who says, boy, I'd like to have some of them, I give them some because I got about 5 bags of them in my freezer. But they're wonderful. Anyway, we'll get back down here. Okay, friends, so down in here, I've got, oh yes, you can see that. I've got some of my jams. Now the rest of my jam, I do have a lot of jam, and the rest of it is out in my sun porch, and that's where I'm gonna store it because I do got quite a few jars out there. Now I sold well more than enough to, I sold a lot of jam this year, and it well more than paid for the berries that I purchased. So it's like, other than the time that I have in it, even the sugar and everything was paid for from the jam I sold. So that was a plus. And I still got well more than enough for winter. So anyway, I got jam and I got pineapple, and I've got some zucchini pineapple from last year. And that leads me to another question. I had a person ask me, how long will food in the jars last? Okay. Well, in all reality, I'm going to tell you that the USDA recommends that you use your home canned goods in about, I think it's a year to 18 months. However, and I know I shouldn't say this, but you know, I've had jars of food for about 3 years, and I've opened them up. They've smelled wonderful. They still have their color, and they tasted good, and you know, they were safe eating. So I guess if you want to go by the book, you're going to want to eat it in 18 months, but that's not saying that jar's going to be rotten on the 18th month. That's where just a little bit of common sense would come in. You know, if the seal isn't busted or broken or, you know, loose or nothing seeping out of it, it's not rusted, it's not, you know, moldy inside that jar, and it smells good. I know you can't smell, taste, or see botulism, but it's unlikely to get botulism in your fruit. That's more likely to happen in your low acid foods. And we'll have a video on that, because I do want to share what I know about botulism and toxins, and you know, I want to share that with you so that you can, you know, decide for yourself how long. But I've had jars, and I've got a lot of meat in here that's on its 2nd year, and I'm not about to throw it out. If it's good, I'm going to use it, because 90% of the time when I use a jar of my meat, it is heated well more than 10 minutes. And if you heat a jar that could possibly or potentially contain botulism toxin, it will kill the toxin. It won't kill the botulism spore, but it will kill the toxin. And the toxin is what can kill you. So we'll talk more about that later. Anyway, I tried these. I did a bunch of these. These are my golden jade beans. They're the yellow wax beans. But I believe they were the golden jade is what the brand name of them were. These are fantastic. I love them. Okay, and I've got my dilly beans. And this jar, friends, is 2 years old, which I'm not even worried about this because this is pickled. That will last probably, you know, another year, and I won't mind it at all. But I hid these two from my kids. Isn't that fun? I'm like, okay, I got that, and I got a little jar of sweet dill pickles that I did. Because my husband, Mr. Wayne, and I, we don't eat a whole lot of pickles. Most of the pickles and the pickled items that I did this year were for my grandbabies. And by the way, they love them. But Gussie, boy, don't like them. Susie told me yesterday, she said, "Oh my God, you'd die laughing." And I said, "Why?" And I guess his older sisters took his binky because they were all eating pickles, right? And they put his binky in the pickle juice, his little pacifier, and gave it back to him. Well, he put that thing in his mouth and he got this sour look on his face and he threw it against the fridge and he said, "Oh, yuck." So I guess my Gussie boy doesn't like pickles. And that's okay. Now, I did green beans. I've got so many green beans. I grew so many green beans this year. I've got green beans coming out my yin-yang. I'm telling you, I've got green beans that are frozen. I've got them freeze-dried. I've got mega amounts canned, mega amounts in the freeze dryer. Or, I'm telling you, friends, I got green beans coming out of my kazoo. There's so many green beans I planted this year, and I gave a ton away. I sold a bunch, but I've got them frozen, freeze-dried, dehydrated, and canned. So next year, I probably won't grow any green beans, except for maybe a few plants for fresh for my market stand, because I need to use these up. I don't want these to go bad. And I did green beans and carrots because my grandbabies love green beans and carrots. And those are good together too. Now, one year I did the green beans. I'm on my knees. Ooh. One year I did the green beans with potatoes. I didn't like that. Neither did anybody else. So I didn't do that again at all. I got peaches. These peaches were free. I got a lot of free food in here too, friends. A lot from my Amish friends. But these peaches were free. My sister-in-law brought me these. And her and I cleaned them up and I canned them. And they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful in the jar. And I've got some that are fresh this year. Excuse me. This year, this jar is fresh this year. And my other ones are behind me. These ones are from last year. So, they're good. They're wonderful. Okay. I did potatoes, too. I got potatoes down here. I got potatoes stored in my root cellar. I got potatoes freeze-dried. And I've also got potatoes that are canned. So we're good on potatoes. I grew a lot of potatoes this year. I bet you I harvested well over 100 pounds of potatoes. So that was nice. And carrots. I just never had good luck growing carrots. But for some reason this year was a fantastic year for my carrots. I grew the rainbow carrots. And they're beautiful in a jar. And they're tasty. I love them. So I got all that. Onions, and I got more pickles, and I gotta stand up. I got more pickles. Hell, this is, what is this? These are turnips. These are from 20. See, these turnips are almost 2 years old in a jar, but these are good in soup. So I continue to use those. Let me get you closer up here so you can get to the bottom. Okay, this is all broth. This is some beautiful onion broth that I did, and I use this a lot in soups too. I've got my other, I've got chicken broth, turkey stock is what I call that one. I've got chicken broth down there. The only thing that I don't have right now is the bone broth, and I'll be doing videos on that. And I'm going to do beef, chicken, and I am going to do a pork broth for you guys because so many people have asked. They never hear about a pork broth, you know. And that would be good in a ham and bean soup. So we're going to do that too. Down here, if you can see, we're going right on down the line. I got cherries down here. Beautiful cherries. This is mixed fruit. I'll never do this again. Look at that jar. It's just not even, it's safe to eat. But here's a prime example that food loses its color. And I did this according to a tested recipe but it just faded in color, and I don't even like looking at it. But I'm not going to throw it out. We'll use it. I'll whip it together with some you know, some fresh apples and some nuts and some whipping cream. I did maraschino cherries, and those are beautiful in a jar. Is that not? We like to eat a lot of, well, my grandkids love the pineapple upside down cake. And I'll tell you, those are expensive in the store. So I made some. These are more pickles. And this looks funny because it's in a purple jar. Doesn't look very appetizing, but it's only because the jar is purple. The pickles in that jar look just like these. And they're beautiful. And this is the Amish dill pickles. Yep, that's the recipe. I shared that with you on my community tab. I also did a nice bunch of the peppers, the pepper rings. I grew a lot of peppers. My peppers went crazy this year. I couldn't believe how good they were. Right here are my pickled beets. Let's see if I can get that without anything falling. These are beautiful. Dark and gorgeous in a jar. I love pickled beets. There is a bay leaf in there, but I think it's stuck down in the middle. You can't see it. I love putting bay leaves in my pickled beets. On the very bottom here, I've got the Renea cherries and the black sweet cherries. The Renea cherries, if for those of you who might not know, they call them they're also called yellow cherries. Or excuse me, white cherries. And those are the ones they actually use for maraschino cherries. These ones that I used are the sours, but I like using those. Okay, up on this shelf here, this is my canned chicken. I've got sausage up here that I canned up, and you've seen that. That, friends, turns out beautiful. But see, remember when I told you I didn't want to freeze dry it, because it does, no matter how much you rinse it, it will contain oil. See that? Now when I open up this jar, I can just take that right off the top, or I could even mix it in with whatever I'm cooking. But you don't want that in your freeze dryer, because it does not freeze dry. Fat does not freeze dry. Butter, sugar, stuff like that just does not freeze dry. And this is chicken breast. This is what everybody calls ugly chicken. And I'll tell you why. Because it collects a residue on the inside of the jar. See that? But it's still perfect. And this is chicken breast. And I love using this in the middle of the winter. Or even summer, I guess, for that matter. I love making chicken salad with it. For chicken salad sandwiches, it's wonderful. This is dark meat chicken. This is my roasted chicken. And you guys, I did that video on canning this. That's wonderful stuff. I got some more ugly chicken there. This is beef. This is plain old cold packed beef. And I am going to do a video, because I didn't do a video. I thought I did, but I don't have a video on just raw packing meat. Plain old meat with nothing in it. So I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to need to anyway. I only got like 6 or 8 jars left. And when it comes to meat, friends, I'll can meat all winter long. My canning season really is year round. I mean, with the exception of your garden, your harvest, that's August, September, July, August, and September, you're canning that stuff. But during the wintertime, you can can your soups and your chilies, your stews, your meals in jars. When meat goes on sale, your chicken and all that. You can can all that all winter long. And even at that, you could put your tomatoes in the freezer if you got a freezer big enough, and you can wait until the middle of the winter, and you can can those tomatoes up into a spaghetti sauce or juice or whatever you want to do. Not only that, you can take your strawberries or your fruit that you have in your freezer, and you can make jam in the middle of the winter with that, so that you're not slamming you know, during your harvest and when everything's coming in, you still got time to work on your garden and do your other things. So there is some things that you can put off till winter. And those are the few of them. Okay, on the bottom here, I've got, this is last year. This is a harvest, excuse me, I'm sorry. This is mixed veggies, not a harvest. I got a harvest blend down there too, harvest veggies. But this is just a blend of mixed veggies. And I like to use this in soups. You just open it up, maybe throw some rice or noodles, you know, and another can of tomato juice or tomato sauce, juice, whatever you want. And you have a nice little pot of soup. Okay, let's see. This is all tomato sauce. And like this, just like the other jar, this is a pasta sauce that I made, and it's gorgeous. It's a little darker. When I did my pasta sauce, it's not just tomatoes. I put vegetables, everything in there. I cook it down and grind it all up. It's wonderful. These are what I was telling you about. This is my harvest blend veggies. And I canned them in a little bit of tomato juice. So it turned out nice. More pickles. Lots and lots of pickles. These are my pickled, they're not hot peppers. They're the sweet peppers. And I pickled them. Aren't those gorgeous? I don't eat these that much, but my son-in-law and my daughter Susie, her and her husband, her kids just devour these. So I made those for her. And then I got pickled chips, and that's what my little Cece loves, is the pickled chips. She's got to have them every time she comes. And then over in that section on the very end, that is all green beans from the top to the bottom. I've got about 50, 60 quarts of green beans in those 4 sections right there. Okay, friends, we'll come in this section over here. Down in this bottom section, I've got containers down here. And in these containers, I keep the mashed potatoes. And I got these, throwing it all over. I got these when I went to Menards. These are usually, oh gosh, I think they're $1.25 now. And sometimes even more than that at Meijer, or I know Dollar Tree has them for $1.25. But these ones were 75 cents, I think I paid, or $1. One of them. Even cheaper, but 25% more. So I got a whole bunch of them. And I keep a few of them up here. And the rest of them are all down in the root cellar. And I probably have about 40 or 50 packs down there for winter time. Plus I got all my others. And I also got all my canned potatoes. And you'll see those. So you can open up a jar of those potatoes and make mashed potatoes with them. Or fry them or whatever you want to do. And I got my Bear Creek. I've got 2, 4, 5. I've got 5 packages up here because we don't make this all the time. But I always loved my mother's potato soup. And she always used this in her potato soup. And it's just fantastic. So I got 5 of those. Here I got another cute little bucket. I think it says pumpkins on it. Anyway, this one I have some of my powdered cheeses in it, my powdered Parmesan. I've got more of my broth. This is like a tomato, let me see, tomato bouillon. So almost like the tomato powder. But I got these at Pineview and they were 40 cents a piece. So I thought, you know what? I'll stick that in there. And that was before I did the tomato powder. But I'll still make sure I use these. Okay. I got powdered milk that I just set here. Because I use this quite a bit when we do hot cocoa. I got more cheese in here. It's an Italian cheese, powdered cheese. I've got onions and sun-dried tomatoes in here. These are wonderful. Oh, and I got a lot of these. I know I just got 1 or 2 of these up here. But these are the vegetable recipe. I use these a lot My husband loves spinach dip. See that? That's what you use for spinach dip. So I probably have another 15 or 20 of them in my root cellar for storage. I've got, what else do I got in here? Oh, I got a thing for making easy made hummus. I love hummus. And I use this because I'm out of tahini right now. This is my powdered buttermilk, and I use this quite a bit in baking, and only baking. That's all I use it for. So that's all my little, you know, odds and ends in that container. I know because you can't see it from up there. I downsized because I needed lots of room in here because I packed it for winter, I'm telling you. So I downsized on these, and I've got a little basket of these and some of the yellow rice. I just keep one at a time up here because it's not something we eat every day. But I got about a half a dozen of the ramen noodle bags up here, and the rest are all down in my root cellar. And my cookies, and oh yeah, here we go. Here's another one. And I did leave more of these up here. I got a bunch of these in here. I also have packaged tuna for quick sandwiches or crackers. I've got a lot of quick stuff in here. I've got some oatmeal in there, instant oatmeal. And these I just set them in there because I didn't have a place to put them right now. These are baby lima beans. And I'll get to those in a second. You'll see what I do with those in just a second. Okay? I've got peaches up here. I've got regular beets up here. More pasta sauce. Down there I got more peaches. If you can see it right down in there. More pasta sauce. That's my butternut squash in there. Okay? Then I got beans, and I got lots of beans, friends. Lots and lots of beans. I needed a container, so I used my old iced tea container for it. I keep my little coffee pods in here. We got a little, it's not a Keurig. You know, it's a Dollar General special for a little, like a Keurig machine, coffee machine. They use as pods. So I always get these at Pineview, and I get them very reasonable. So I buy lots of them. These, I'm going to show you this, friends. This container is a little heavy. But see all those beans in there? Those beans are all this year's shelling beans out of my garden. Just tons of them. This whole container's full. See all the different colors in there? They're beautiful. Okay? That is what I do. I still got more out there. I probably will fill this twice with my shelling beans. And I've already shelled these, and they're beautiful. They're so colorful. I just want you to see that color on them. They're beautiful beans. Beautiful, beautiful beans. And every one of these grew in my garden. So now, what I do is I like the small, the baby, and the large lima beans. I'll throw them. I'll mix them in with these when I make my mixes up and I package them. I'll put some cranberry beans in here because I didn't grow cranberry beans. I'll put some more navy beans in here. I didn't grow any navy or Great Northern beans, so I'll add some of those into this before I put my mix together because I like a variety of beans in bean soup. I love it. And no, I don't can them because every single time I do my beans, I do them different. And I like cooking them slowly in my slow cooker with a piece of ham or a ham hock or, you know, something. Whatever I'm going to put in there, whatever kind of meat, I like it to slow cook in there with it. So that's why I've got lots of dry beans. Okay. I got my rice cooker's on the bottom. I do have some water down there, emergency water. Not much, about 6 quarts. I don't think that, I know a lot of people would need to store up emergency water. We are very fortunate. We live in Michigan. There's water all around us. There's natural springs all around us. I can go 5 miles down the road and there's an artesian well, 2 of them, that's been running for the last, oh my gosh, they've been going since 1939, these 2 artesian wells. And so many people gather their water from there. It's wonderful. So with the grid down situation or a power outage, you know, all we got to do is go, and we keep our cars full of fuel all the time. So all we'd have to do is jump in our vehicle and go down there, and we could get a week's supply of water. And if we can't, somebody said to me, well, what happens if you can't drive your car? You got to have emergency water. I said, I've got friends that are Amish. We jump in that buggy, buddy, and we go get some water. They've already told me that. You just come on. They've got a well. Anyway, they've got water that runs on a windmill. So, perfectly fine. And they are exactly 2 miles away from me. I could walk that far, you know. So, I don't worry about wasting space for water because that is covered for us. Spices. Got lots of them. Let me turn this up a little bit. Okay, now we've got spices. I've got a little bit of everything in here. Everything you can imagine. And a lot of these were, for example, this is my celery powder that I made. It's like a powder. I didn't powder it. I just crushed it up. And I use that I mix that with my bok choy greens and my parsley greens. And that way, you know, it gives a wonderful flavor too. But these are all my spices, and I've got a little bit of everything because I've got all my mother's. And let me tell you, my mother was the queen of spice blends. That woman was wonderful with what she could put together with spices. I'm telling you, she could make a pan of stone soup taste good. So I got all her recipes. And not only did I got all her recipes, I also I'm including them. I'm still working on my 3rd cookbook. Slowly, I'm going to get to it. And I know I should have had it done a few years ago, but with my mother, you know, I went through that cancer battle with her. I took care of her, and everything that I had in my life was just placed on hold. So now, you know, my mother's gone. God rest her soul. I miss her terrible. And, but now I'll slowly get back, and I'll get that done for you. But I will include her spice blends in there, and you'll love them. You'll love them. She was a fantastic cook. All my aunts and uncles were fantastic cooks. And it came from my grandmother, I know, because my grandmother and my grandfather both loved to cook. My grandmother was from Vienna, Austria, and my grandfather was from Stuttgart, Germany. Brought me goodies.
Yep.
Oh, that's all juice.
Yeah, seriously, I can't drink it, so.
It's grapefruit juice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Friends, take a look. We got grapefruit juice.
Grandma, see you later.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We got grapefruit juice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what? My stepdad, Papa Tony, he told me, can I have these? Okay. He told me to drink grapefruit juice because it's good for osteoarthritis.
I like it, but I just care because of my medication.
You can't drink it with your medicine. Now they used to tell me for years, I don't know if any of you take thyroid medicine, but they said, oh, you can't drink grapefruit juice with it. That's not true. I don't know, you don't take thyroid medicine, you probably take other stuff.
Blood pressure and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh boy. I'll give some of that to Papa too.
There you go.
He'll love that. And these will be for dinner. Nice.
And got some
Where'd you get the cabbage?
There's a food truck today.
Where'd that at?
At the Armory.
Oh. Oh, we could do some. Do you like sauerkraut? No, you don't like sauerkraut. Well.
Cabbage rolls I do.
Huh?
Cabbage rolls I do.
Oh, we could make cabbage rolls out of the bigger one. Do you want to make some cabbage rolls?
Again,
You got room in your freezer?
a little bit.
We'll do cabbage rolls.
I just
Look,
got it.
look what I did the other day. That's Larry's breakfast sausage.
Oh,
And tell me, who tops Larry's breakfast sausage?
nobody really.
Nobody. He makes the best. And you know what? Richard won't give that recipe to anybody. Well, I wonder why. He sells lots of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so we've got goodies, friends. I'm sorry. If you want, I'm going to finish up my video. And
I'm gonna do some laundry if you don't mind.
you want to do laundry? Yeah, you go right ahead. I filled the container, so the container's full now. And it was empty. And I thought, I told John, I said, we better fill this because Tracy's going to come do laundry. She can't lift that thing.
No, I can't.
Oh, you want a thing for coffee?
Yep.
Right here, darling. I think this is the hazelnut, though. You don't mind that, do you?
No.
Okay. Here you go. Use off cup of coffee. Oh, see, friends, I love freebies. Love it. We'll make her some cabbage rolls for the freezer. Let me put this in here. Okay, back to the spices. I was telling you, my grandfather, my grandmother, she was from Vienna, Austria. My grandfather was from Stuttgart, Germany, and they both loved to cook, and oh my goodness, did they cook. They raised 18 children. So let me tell you about Mega Mama cooking. That woman would cook, and everything, I mean everything. You wouldn't find a box of Hamburger Helper or a can of soup. Everything my grandmother made was scratch made for 18 children every day. She made bread. She made all her pies, all her strudel. Everything was homemade. And, you know, my mother was a good cook, and all my aunts and uncles. And, well, of course, you know, I'm not bragging, but I'm a good cook. But my problem is I like my cooking. That's why I'm chubby. Anyway, so that's with the spices. You're going to see it in my cookbook. They're wonderful. So that's that side. Let's get you onto the other side. Okay, friends. You look up on this top shelf. I've got a lot of oats for oatmeal. If you can see the box, I've got one up there. It's freeze-dried hash browns. Wonderful. I've already used a box. In fact, I think, yeah, I've already completely used that box. I've got the yellow saffron rice. I got 2 big containers of that because, you know, we do eat that. Maybe not every day, but we'll use that. That will last me through the winter, those 2. More beans. I told you these are from last year. And all my pastas. All the way down are my pastas. Plus, I've got... down in my root cellar, I have got a 25-pound bag of dehydrated sliced potatoes. Because I don't know how true it is, but I've been told that potatoes could potentially go through the roof in price, and that they've already gone up in price. So I grabbed that, and it was the same price that I paid for. I buy it about every 3 years. I'll buy a 25-pound bag because I don't do my own. I know a lot of people freeze dry and dehydrate their own sliced potatoes. I don't. I just buy them, and I buy them in a 25-pound bag. It cost me $60. And I bought a bag 3 years ago. It was $60. Same thing this time around. I bought it before the potatoes shot up. I spent $60 on it. So I'm set for the next 3 years. I've got dehydrated potatoes, canned potatoes, frozen mashed potatoes, frozen hash browns, and potatoes also stored in my root cellar. So I'm good with potatoes. Second shelf. This over here is ketchup that I made. And it is, oh, it's beautiful. And it tastes wonderful. And I also got, this is that Mexican corn that we made. Now my daughter, I gave her some already. But isn't that pretty in a jar? I just love that stuff. That would go good in Spanish rice. You know, so I got those up there. These are my convenience foods. My boxed foods. Everybody's going to have that. Because, you know, sometimes you just don't want to do a scratch-made meal. You just want something quick. So for the price of these, they're going to feed, you know, a good amount. You're going to get full off them. So I got them. I got lots of them. And now we'll still, these will well more than last us through the winter. Jambalaya. We love jambalaya. But I found the rice-a-roni for $1 a box. And it's a family size, 2 times more than the regular size. It's double the amount, same price. So I grabbed them. And I thought, you know what? When I make them, I'll have to make a box at a time. And that's fine. Because you know what? I could make up a couple boxes and freeze dry them. What's left over. So I got that. And I got more of the rice-a-roni over here. Because we do like rice-a-roni. And then this section here. Let me turn you around. This section here is all my baking stuff. And this down here is all my box cake mixes. I've got my flour. Let me see that. I've got my flour and my brown sugar. All my box cake mixes. Some of my, my store-bought frosting. You've seen when we went shopping over at Pineview, my daughter grabbed this and for the Gussie boy's birthday and Alaric's birthday. We had those 2 birthdays in September. Well, we had to postpone that party until October because they come down with COVID. So that's, you know, that's not going to happen until next month. And I'll make their cake. I've got a few Pop-Tarts here that I bought. You've seen the ones that I bought when we went shopping. I like these. These raspberry ones are pretty good. They're gluten-free. And I got taco shells in there. Okay, down here, that's all my tomato paste. And I've got more pickles. And this was like an overflow shelf. I've got green beans. I've got pickles, pickled peppers. This is my chicken and veggies that I did for like pot pies or casseroles. Beautiful stuff. I've got more green beans here. This is my beef stew in my jars. It turned out beautiful. I've got that there. I've got tomatoes down. I've got tomatoes down under here. This whole section down below that is tomatoes. And you can't see that too well. But I'll show that to you. I've got teas and coffee, instant coffee and juice there. And now I'm going to have more juice. I'm going to have to find a place to put that. Bless her heart, she brought all that juice. And my dad was just telling me the other day, my stepdad, that to drink a little of that grapefruit juice, just drink a little bit each day because it does something for your arthritis. So, and then here is my broth that I get. Now I bought a different brand for chicken soup, but this, for those of you that have wondered, this is Walnut Creek. This is the beef broth that I bought, the beef flavored soup base. They have chicken and they have ham and they have French onion broth, soup base. It's wonderful stuff, and I use a lot of this in my canning, but I always try to find the Walnut Creek because it's the best that I've found so far. This is all condiments and stuffing, and I got some rice and, of course, onion soup mix. I found that was very reasonable price at Pineview. Otherwise, I make my own. You can make your own real cheap. And the syrups, the ketchup, peanut butter, jelly, onions, mushrooms, garlic. I got a little bit of everything in there. I got some teriyaki sauce because I'm going to do some chicken thighs with that. Wonderful. Let me bring it down. Okay, so down on these two shelves, and then there's another shelf down there, and you will see that as well. I got most of my fruit and my pie fillings. I've got my canned beans. My canned meats are up here. I got beans on this one, is all beans too. I got these. I got these when these were fairly cheap. I think they're a little pricier now. I got them when they were just almost $2 a can. But this is almost like Spam. And I know I opened one up and I thought, well, I'm going to taste it before I buy any more. And my husband and I had the ham sandwiches with it, and it was good. It was really good. We had that with some melted cheese on, like a grilled ham and cheese, and it was good stuff. So I bought a bunch of them. I think I got 12 to 15 of these cans. But these cans, and you know me, I don't ever really worry about expiration dates. There is no expiration date on this can, but there is a sell-by date, which means this can has to be off the store shelf, and the sell-by date is 2027. If you can see that. But that's what it is. 2027. So when a store stamps, or when a manufacturer stamps a sell-by date on a product, it's not an expiration date. They want that to be off the shelf by that date so that you have another 3 to 6 years with it on your shelf. And that's fantastic. Well, you know, in order to achieve that, it has to be loaded with sodium. And I'm sure it is. Just in case. The total sodium serving size is 2 ounces, and the total sodium is 620 milligrams in that serving. Holy mackerel, yep, that's a lot of sodium. So it's not something you'd want to eat every day, but you know what, if you had to survive on it, you could do it. So, and then all that fruit down there, and my pie fillings, beautiful stuff. Down on the next shelf, that's all beans and refried beans. That whole section is beans, garbanzo beans, and refried beans. I got lots of garbanzo beans because I love hummus. I'm the only one that eats it. Nobody else likes it. And refried beans, I've got some ragu, and this is the Alfredo, the roasted garlic, Parmesan sauce, Alfredo sauce. I've got some salsa down there, some canned chicken and dumplings, some canned sweet yams, and more vegetables. Okay? We're going to show you the bottom shelf. On my bottom shelf down there, I've got macaroni cheese. Of course, you know, who wouldn't want macaroni cheese in their pantry? It's a quick meal for, you know, your grandkids, or a busy night when you're just not feeling well or you're tired. You just have some macaroni and cheese and whatever to go with it, you know. I got cereals, all that cereals under there. I got a lot of that stuff come from my husband's truck. Those containers right there. Those are mashed potatoes. Those came from my husband's truck. And no, I'm not going to toss them out. And he's got a few bags of cereal under there. The green boxes that you see, that's spaghetti. I got those on discount. And those are still there. Now over here is pizza sauce. That is some more of my, we'll get you to here. That is some more of my beef stroganoff, pot roast, whatever it is. I've got some cans back there, and you can't see that well back there. I've got potatoes back there, and on the bottom, I've got more jars. It's too dark. You can't see it. I've got more jars of my 1 jar meals, and this is all my oil, where I store my oil there. This is all spaghetti sauce, all this. Spaghetti and pasta sauce. I got some sauerkraut right in there. Okay, friends, that brings us to this side of the pantry. And we redid this side of the pantry so that we could get the freeze dryer up here. The gem of the pantry. And that is her name, Gem. I love her. Anyway, you'll see I left it purposely up on my windows so that I could answer your questions, because so many times, I mean, there's so many people that say, shouldn't your canned goods be in the dark? You know, no light on them, no sunlight shining on them. Yes, they should be as dark as you can get them. I mean, a little bit of light isn't going to hurt them. But usually when I'm in here, I take that off because it's just poster board. And I just got, you know, a little piece of tape to secure it up there. So I just pull it down and tape it back up. Same with this window over here. But I left it up there so I can show you. I'm going to turn my light off. How dark it is in here when I'm not in here. See that? You can just barely see up there where there's a little bit of light coming through. And it isn't going to hurt a thing. So, I hope that answers that question. Anyway, I got my butcher block over there. The pantry or the freeze dryer's there. That big table is what I bought from my friend. I bought 2 of them. And they're both stainless tables, and they were beautiful. And we put this in here because it's about, you know, it can hold her. She weighs 225 pounds. She's a hefty gal, like her owner. Anyway, you see the brownout? My wash machine's going. So we got her situated on the table. Underneath, and I'll bring you over here. Underneath, you will see the pump. Okay, we got the pump for her that's set up under there. That's the oil for her. This bottle here is just regular vegetable oil. It's just, I set it there because I didn't have room where I normally keep them over there. So we got the drain bucket there, which I got to empty before I do my next run. Down here, you probably can't see it too well. That's an Excalibur dehydrator. And that I also bought from my friend. Under there is a scale that I also bought. I bought all kinds of stuff from him. Bless his heart. I just love him and his wife, my 2 best friends, David and Shannon. They sold me a lot of stuff for a reasonable price. So, up here, this is the other part of the deal. It is a commercial size vacuum sealer. And it is a, you can see that, a Weston Pro 2300 vacuum sealer. This thing is fantastic. It's like a piece of art sitting there. I'm telling you, I love that thing. And then I got a little piece of butcher block sitting on there. That right there, I'm surprised we got all that in here, but we kind of revamped and moved stuff around. I had my butcher block that was here. I gave that to my neighbor. And it really, we built that clear back in 2013, but I never chopped on it. I had Italian marble put on it, and I never used it. It just sat in here, and I used it for storage. So when I gave that to her, she got a nice little present. And I kept this table in here, and you see that every time I do my freeze drying videos. But that's it, friends. I would love to take you downstairs to see my root cellar, but it is in total chaos down there. We're in the process of putting more shelves in there because it really is a small area, and that's where I store most all of my freeze-dried stuff is down there, and all my overflow. So, in my freezer, that's packed too. I don't even have room in my freezer to pre-freeze my food when I freeze dry it. But that's all right too. You don't have to pre-freeze it. It's not required. It just does take a little bit longer to freeze dry, you know, non-frozen food. So there you go, friends. That is what's in my pantry and why I store what I store. I don't store any flour because I use it so fast. Same with sugar. I don't store sugar because unless I'm baking a project or making jam, I don't have any more than a gallon container of it. So, but anyway, that's it. That's what's in my pantry. It's all done. It's all stocked. It's bulging at the seam. It's very workable, very sustainable, and I am pleased and I am exhausted from all this work. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my pantry tour. I hope it inspires you, and I will see you in the next video. And again, thanks for watching.